I know you're gonna dig this.
Good evening, race fans. It's time for the Mitch Walker Show, bringing you all the news, updates, and opinions from the world of racing. Everything from dirt cars, karts, mod lights, drag boats, lawnmowers, drivers, promoters, announcers, even photographers. We cover it all. Now sit back, wipe the visor, and adjust the 5-point harness. It's the Mitch Walker Show right here on the Performance Motorsports Network. Take it away, Doc.
All right, man, I love it. Love kicking the show off with something new. And, man, I'm telling you what, we've got a bang-up show tonight. I am excited about it. We're going to be talking with a Daytona 500 winner. Not going to tell you who it is yet, but just sit tight. But before we do that, let's kick it off like we do each and every week with our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, one real quick thing I want to throw out there. If everyone who does so, if you could please keep Kathy Coulter, who's the promoter for Boyd Speedway and the public relations manager for the Durant's Lane, Neesmith Durant's Lane Late Model Series, keep her mom in your prayers. They took her to the hospital yesterday afternoon. They spent the day running tests. They still don't know anything, but I know that prayers would be greatly appreciated, and I put her on my list. So if you would please keep Katie Coulter. She's a sweetheart and probably one of the nicest ladies I know, that comes and hangs out to racetrack with us and puts up with all our shenanigans, and she just sits back and laughs at us and says, y'all are not right. But she's a real sweetheart, and the fact that she's not feeling well really gets us down. So we're going to keep her in our prayers, and we've got a great show lined up for you tonight, I'm telling you. We've got our mystery guest coming up here real soon. And then we're going to talk a little bit about Daytona, talk about Ricky Stenhouse. We're going to talk about some bashing and some of the negative effects that has. We're going to talk about cheating. We're going to talk about bashing tracks, bashing series. We're going to talk about Mother Nature. And you just never can tell what else we're all going to get into. But I'm telling you, we are locked and loaded. We are revved up. I'm excited about tonight. I want to thank my buddy and my producer, Mr. Bradley Clayton, for putting all this together tonight. He's the one that's responsible for the new sound of the show. If you notice new things popping in and out of the show, Bradley's the one that does it. That's one of the reasons I brought him back. I wanted him back. I looked like a little 3-year-old throwing a hissy fit, but I wanted the team back together, and we got it back together, and he's rocking and rolling with it. If you haven't stopped by and checked out our Facebook page, The Mitch Walker Show, please do so, and hit the like button, follow us, and we love everybody checking us out and seeing all the cool stuff that we're putting up there nowadays, and we're putting up a lot more, and I've got a lot more coming, so keep that in mind, and tell you what, sit tight. Don't go nowhere. We're going to step out here and take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, who knows what we got going on. But just remember, you know, who's in charge here. So you never can tell what's going to happen. Sit tight. Don't go nowhere, everybody. It's the Mitch Walker Show with your host, me, Mitch Walker. They call me the doctor. And you'll find me exclusively right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Parents, your son or daughter has had their license for a while now, but you want to make sure they're prepared for any situation they may face on the road. High school driver's ed doesn't teach them to drive defensively. They need to be prepared for any highway emergency. For less than a month's insurance, and a whole lot less, BSR instructors at Summit Point Motorsports Park in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, will teach your son or daughter how to respond instantly and positively to unexpected situations on the road. BSR's specialized accident avoidance training teaches swerve to avoid maneuvers at highway speed, ocular driving, which focuses driving attention on ways to avoid accidents, vehicle dynamics and feedback, skid control and skid recovery, threshold braking on straights and progressive braking on curves, and off-road recovery techniques. This is stuff driver's ed simply doesn't teach. So call BSR today, 304-725-8444. Give your kid the skill set needed to drive safely and responsibly on the highway. That's 304-725-8444.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right, it's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
HMS Motorsport is the leader in motorsport safety. HMS serves the majority of Monster Energy NASCAR Cup, Xfinity, and Camping World Truck teams, many IndyCar and IMSA WeatherTech teams, as well as countless SCCA and club-level racers and driving enthusiasts throughout North America. Featuring world-renowned brands like Stilo helmets, Schroep belts, Adidas suits and shoes, HJC helmets, Orca driver gear, Lifeline fire systems, and even Racecom radio kits, HMS representatives are knowledgeable and focused on only one thing: making your track driving as safe as possible. With locations in Mooresville, North Carolina, and Danvers, Massachusetts, the staff at HMS is always ready to take the time and help you find the right product for your safety needs. Don't settle for second when it comes to motorsport safety. Stop in to HMS Motorsport. Visit them on their website at hmsmotorsport.com or send them a message on Facebook and tell them the folks from PMN Radio sent you.
Hi, this is John Ondrasik of Five for Fighting, here for RAD, the entertainment industry's voice for road safety. You know, style is a personal thing, and your lifestyle is your business. But if you take it on the road, it becomes everybody's business. So please, plan ahead, designate before you celebrate. Friends, don't let friends drive drunk.
A public service announcement brought to you by RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
I'm Tommy Boylo, driver of number 16 Caesars Truck Racing Volvo in the Bandit Series sponsored by Minimizer, and you're listening to The Mitch Walker Show, only on the Performance Motorsports Network.
All right. Thank you, Tommy. I appreciate that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time. Joining us right now, man who won his first race in 1995, the AC Delco 400 in Rockingham. Winner of 5 NASCAR races, 7 poles, 82 top 10 finishes out of South Boston, Virginia, Mr. Ward Burton. Ward, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Oh, doing great. How are y'all?
Man, I'm finding a frog hair split 3 ways and sanded.
Oh, that's real good.
It is. I want to thank you for taking a little time out and coming on and spending some time with us and talking about racing and some of the things that you've got going on nowadays. You stay a pretty busy man, don't you?
Well, you know, it seems like you would think when you were younger, when you get older, things are slowed down, but it's just the opposite for me, and I think a lot of folks. It seems like the older we get, the busier we are and the more responsibility we have, but most of that's self-inflicted, so it's all good.
Well, I know that you're involved with the Ward Burton Foundation, and you do a lot of sportsman stuff for making people aware of it, and that's something that's near and dear to your heart, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, it was the first driver foundation formed in '96 from a NASCAR driver, and little did I know when I created the foundation just to try to make a difference for our natural resource. It would take a life of its own, and I spend, I don't know, anywhere from every waking moment of a normal day to half a day at least on Foundation. Foundation's growing very well, and we've been real fortunate and carrying on that mission statement, buddy.
Oh, yeah. That's the Ward Burton Wildlife Foundation. So they have a website. You can check those out. I'll post those on the show page here in a little bit. Now, Ward, I know you had a hell of a career in NASCAR, and your brother raced, and he has kind of went on and hung around up there. But when you quit racing in 2007, you just kind of walked away from it and went and done your own thing, didn't you?
You know, if I could go back and do it over again, I guess we all would got things in our lives. My stock was down. We just had not run well for a while. Tried to make it with net zero, and that didn't work out. And, you know, I just got to the point I really couldn't tell who I could trust anymore. And, you know, I just went straight back to where I came from and started working on my foundation full time. And always had two lives. I had my racing life and I had the outdoors. So the foundation is obviously mainly work. Got that work ethic from my daddy's construction company, but it's a labor of love. And so I missed racing, but I had something else that was just as important. And at the end of the day, probably more important than a racing career. But, you know, I've always missed it, but what I missed doesn't normally racing changed so much it doesn't exist like it did back then.
Well, you know, you mentioned change. I know that I've been active with the Georgia Auto Racing Hall of Fame Association. We had a big luncheon. Well, it was a barbecue shindig down at Mark Carter's house this past on the 4th of July. And I sat down there with the 1960 NASCAR champion, Mr. Rex White. And we were talking about change. And we had got to talking, and I said, well, Rex, what do you think of the finish last week between Kyle Larson and Kyle Busch? He said, I thought that was just absolutely horrible. And I said, horrible? I said, you didn't think it was exciting? He said, that was absolutely horrible. And I said, really? He said, yeah. I had Larson in the pool. I lost $40.
Well, that was an exciting finish by two great drivers. Both of them were able to finish the race, so that's always good. But yeah, it was doesn't happen every week like that, obviously. But that was an exciting race. A little bit, I saw it.
Yeah, I woke up from my nap just in time to see that. NASCAR has kind of got to where it puts me to sleep. But, you know, the one thing, when Bradley told me that he had lined you up for the show, the one thing that I remember the most, and this may be just kind of weird, but was the Daytona 500 that you won. And the fact that was the race that Sterling Marlin got out of his car and went and checked his fender. And the NASCAR officials come over pointing at the seat. You get back in there. You can't get out of your car. And it penalized him, and that brought you to the front. But now, were you sitting where you could see him when he got out?
Oh yeah, yeah. What happened was Gordon put on a blocking move right past the travel on a restart. They got together. Gordon spun out. And that was back when we raced back to the flag. And the right front tire, the fender was on the tire. I mean, it was smoking so bad. I was on the outside of Sterling. He was in the 40 car. And it was taking a little bit of a risk because the tire could have blown at any time. And Sterling, if you really look back on it, had he been able to pull the fender out without getting penalized, that was really an insightful move on his part because he had no choice. There's no way in the world that was going to make it too many more laps. So, I mean, really, you don't see that too often. that was his only chance to win the race. And obviously, we had finally got our car to handle well in that last pit stop, and we were able to battle our way back up to third to be in that position. We should have we had the fastest car and led the most laps in the 01 race, but got caught up on a wreck on the backstretch. But missing the big one in 1 and 2 when Harvick was blocking Gordon, that was a typical moment that day for us.
Oh, yeah. Well, I had Waddell Wilson on my show here a few weeks ago, and I asked him, I said, Waddell, I know that in all your time in racing, you've seen some drivers do some real bonehead moves. I said, what do you think was probably the biggest boneheaded move that you've ever seen a driver pull? And he sat there for a minute, and he said, well, do you mean in the race car or out of the race car?
Yes.
And I said, well, both. He said, well, out of the race car, it had to be Sterling Marlin getting out of his car at Daytona. And but I've always thought that was just so cool that he got out and figured, well, what the hell, I'll just go look, And
well, he did more than look, because if he just looked, it probably wouldn't have penalized. I don't know if he could have pulled it out or not, because the bodies were pretty tough at that time. But, I mean, really, if you look at it, he had no damn choice.
Yeah.
He was going to have to pit, and it wasn't but, I can't remember, 3 to 5 laps probably after they cleaned the track up, before we raced back to the checkered flag. So, really, I look at it was smart as hell to do it, because that was the only opportunity he had if he got away with it.
Oh, yeah, I thought it was a genius move. My thing was the thing that really struck me as funny was the official pointing at the seat, like, get back in the car, and I could just hear him, get back in the car. You can't do that. And he was just kind of standing there like, well, what can I do? So, but yeah,
I remember
it was
asking
interesting.
my crew chief, he said, well, you're going to be the race leader. I remember asking him twice, so tell me what's going on, because it was so unusual.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything in the rule books that says a driver cannot work on his car, other than you can't work. It was a red flag, and you can't work. The pit crew can't work on the car either. So I guess that was their rationale. It worked out fine for us that day.
Oh,
we both were in Dodgers, so one of us was going to help the other one win that race.
Yeah, I bet that was a big party afterwards, wasn't it?
Man, I tell you the truth. We did. We threw down a little bit. We got with all the Dodge folks and the Cat folks and the team. But I was, I'd been in a car for 4 or 5 hours and getting hustled around to the different suites. And I went to the Budweiser suite. And I had a regular Budweiser. Golly, my head split for 24 hours. So that was the wrong thing for me to do, drinking a Budweiser right after the race.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. I come from dirt racing and been there myself a time or two, and somebody's just stuck something in my hand after I get out of the car, sitting there just fire suit, just soaking with sweat. And get out. Of course, I didn't go 4 or 5 hours, but sitting there and somebody sticks something in your hand, you just take a big old drink out of it, and it's like, what in the world did I just do? And you already drunk half of it, so might as well go ahead and drink the other half.
Well, it was worth a headache. It was an exciting day. Thought I was going to win a lot more on that one, but that's in the past now.
Oh, yeah, but it's fun to look back on, and it's one of those things that, one of those memories, that will always stick around.
Once you win that race, you're labeled that way. Wherever you go, if you ever introduce a speaking engagement or whatever, that's going to be one of the things they bring up. So I guess it could be a lot worse things, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you could be like Brad Knopfsinger, and when he gets introduced, Brad Knopfsinger, the NASCAR driver who hit the pace car. So,
yeah, that ain't as bad as, I better keep my mouth shut. There the hell
Hey, Ward, can you hang around and let us take a quick commercial break?
Yes, sir.
All right, Bradley, let's roll on out of here. We're going to step out and take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back. It's the Mitch Walker Show with your host, me, Mitch Walker. They call me the Doctor, and my special guest, Mr. Ward Burton. And you'll find this exclusively right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Do you love the sound of high revving motors and the smell of burning rubber? Do you want to get your car sideways right at the ragged edge of control? If you've always wanted to try drifting or learn to improve your drifting skills, Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier motorsports facility, has the expert instructors and the specialized track to teach you how to drift and the skills necessary to drift competitively. From skid pad to open sessions, Summit Point Motorsports Park has the safe and open environment that allows drifters of all skill levels, new to intermediate, to get sideways and smoking. With a focus on safety and the skill set necessary to drift competitively, Summit Point Motorsports Park's Drift Nirvana is just the thing for you. Call for your reservation today, 304-725-8444. Or for more information, go online, summitpoint-raceway.com, or you can email them at office@bsrinc.com. Drift Nirvana, getting you sideways the right way.
HMS Motorsport is the leader in motorsport safety. HMS serves the majority of Monster Energy NASCAR Cup, Xfinity, and Camping World Truck teams, many IndyCar and IMSA WeatherTech teams, as well as countless SCCA and club-level racers and driving enthusiasts throughout North America. Featuring world-renowned brands like Stilo helmets, Schroep belts, Adidas suits and shoes, HJC helmets, Orica driver gear, Lifeline fire systems, and even Racecom radio kits, HMS representatives are knowledgeable and focused on only one thing: making your track driving as safe as possible. With locations in Mooresville, North Carolina, and Danvers, Massachusetts, the staff at HMS is always ready to take the time and help you find the right product for your safety needs. Don't settle for second when it comes to motorsport safety. Stop in to HMS Motorsport. Visit them on their website at hmsmotorsport.com or send them a message on Facebook and tell them the folks from PMN Radio sent you.
What an awesome game. What's up with your car? I don't know. It won't start. How are we getting home? Chill. My parents signed me up for the roadside assistance from Lewis Meineke. It was free with my oil change. They'd come and get the car started or get us home and tow the car to the shop.
Good to know. With my driving, my parents never know what to expect.
When you join the Meineke Car Care Club with a $35 preferred service, you get 4 free months of roadside assistance, including tire change, battery jump, lockout service, towing, and more. Contact Lewis Meineke, located on Route 1, or call 827-2054.
When do you think of a plumber? Like most people, even if it's an emergency, you can be confident about who will arrive to help you. For quality and reliability, count on someone you can trust. Call on the plumbing services of Hague Quality Water of Maryland. Plumbing doesn't have to be an emergency. We handle all kinds of preventative maintenance too. Hague Quality Water of Maryland is family owned here in Annapolis since 1993. For a refreshing choice, call us at 888-84-WATER or visit us online.
COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, is a lung disease that robs people of their ability to breathe. As many as 24 million Americans suffer from COPD, also known as chronic bronchitis or emphysema, and half of them don't know they have the disease. If you or someone you love is over 35 and has smoked more than 100 cigarettes in their lifetime, visit driveforcopd.org and take the screener, then take that to your doctor. I'm Jeff Stoltz, and I drive for COPD.
Hey, do you know what the score of the game is? It doesn't matter what the score of the game is, because the Mitch Walker Show is on.
There you go. Just like that, we come back. Now, Ward, I know that you know you spend a lot of time with your federation. You're doing a lot of things with your foundation. How did you get started in racing?
My dad took me to a go-kart track when I was 8, and we watched. It was all older gentlemen, you know, guys in their 20s and 30s racing. He asked me if I'd like to do that, and I said sure. We went up there the next week, and they made me start in the rear, and I was taking the lead on last lap, and Wayne Weatherford, he's passed now. He ended up being a motor builder down the road, but he spun me out on the white flag lap, started last, and came back and won the race. And after that, it was really my dad's passion for sports in general. He was a great athlete. Next thing I know, that's what I was doing every weekend during the summer. And then when my brother Brian and Jeff got older, they were racing, and My dad and I don't know, when I was probably about 13, 14, we were both racing in the same class in the senior modified. And that was apparent real quick that wasn't going to work because we both wanted to beat each other just as badly. So, yeah, it was really my dad's enthusiasm for motorsports and just competition in general.
Now, do you feel that racing helped bond you and your dad, and then later on you and your son?
You know, we spent a lot of time together, not only working on the carts, but traveling every weekend. You know, it was the VKA, Virginia Karting Association, back then. And, yeah, I would definitely say so. You know, my life was pretty much in the outdoors in the winter and racing in the summer. You know, with my son Jeb, have pretty much done the same thing with him. It's just the sport has changed so much. His daddy just doesn't have the financial means right to kind of check that he needs. It seems to be the norm in the sport for the most part. It's been a real mental, I don't know, been really a struggle mentally to try to understand why this kid can't get an opportunity like he needs. But he's working hard and trying to find an opportunity, trying to find some partners. I don't know. The sport's just changed a lot. And, I don't know if we'll get him where he needs to be, but it's not going to be from a lack of effort.
Well, you know, Ward, you mentioned how much the sport has changed. You know, I've talked to a lot of legends in this sport over the past 3 or 4 years since I started doing this show. I've had some of them on my show, and I sit back and I look and I see a lot of, and exactly what you're talking about. I see a lot of these young guys come into the sport and riding on somebody else's money and jump in to a top tier ride, go out and do nothing but crash and burn weekend after weekend after weekend. And you look back over the fence and there's 30 drivers standing there who could drive circles around this kid, but because they don't have the financial backing, that they can't get the rides that these rich kids get. And I'm not begrudging some of them, but some of them, it's ridiculous the way that they have gotten to where they're at by using money to get them into the end of the sport instead of using talent to get them into the sport.
Well, and you know, some of what you say may be true. I think fathers, even a lot more than what Jeff and I and Brian did. You know, we raced go-karts and we raced some late model stock. But, you know, we didn't run touring series. We didn't run all over the country. We didn't run, 20 different tracks every year, summer. And now there's a wealth of talent out there that get a lot more experiences than a lot of us were able to have when we were being brought up. So, look, I'm not begrudging to someone that can bring the funding to a good team, but this is the way it is. Look, it is hard the way the sport is and expensive it is to find new partners, new sponsors to come in the sport. It is hard. And it's, in some cases, the ones that are getting it are, the co-owners have enterprises and they're, multi-millionaires or billionaires, so they can get the B2Bs done very easily. But if you've got a lot more talent than I've got, but I've got some 7 figures that's going to come with me, I'm going to get the damn ride, and the co-owners do not have any option in it.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is. And if it was like that now, look, I'm not a hero in the sport. Could I have done better had I not been quite so low to some of the groups I was with? No question about it. Driving a race car, I felt like was the easiest thing I've ever done. I was certainly not perfect, made a lot of mistakes, but I felt like I could have won a lot more races, but I was loyal. At the end of the day, the sport has just, the face of it has just changed so much. And we just need some new leadership to come in and help fix the sport. Because it's the business model does not work like it did. And it's still a hell of an opportunity for a company to get involved and activating, but it's hard to find them.
Oh, I agree.
Really
and I think one of the things that you hit on is when you look at companies coming on board, you know, it's a golden opportunity for them to gain national exposure and for them to get their name out in front of people. There's a growing list of companies that have come in and gained that exposure and capitalized on it from sponsoring a race car for a year or two, or maybe just a few races. But that package, there has to be some better way, like you said, to put all this together and be able to still keep some of these drivers that are not toting the big sponsors with them. Some of these guys, I think some of them need a chance. And that's, you know, and it's true in dirt racing too. I mean, it's just as bad in dirt racing nowadays. You know, if you want to go up to the top tier and run the Lucas or the World of Outlaws, you've got to bring a big sponsor with you or, you know, fund your own team. And you have to hit the lottery to fund your own team anymore.
Well, and look, it goes all the way down to the lower classes like you're speaking about. I mean, when I started racing, I was 25 at South Boston Speedway, a little local short track here in Virginia. A fellow loaned me, Carl Hartz, loaned me a Volkswagen. He said, "You can drive my Volkswagen." The thing had been sitting on mothballs for 2 years, ran 2 races, and then a gentleman offered me, Carl Nugel, his street stock. So what that is a real old limited car that had racing tires on it and a roll cage and a racing motor. But it certainly wasn't a late model. Yeah. And the prices of running that were nothing compared to what it is today. But then I had another gentleman that had goofed all and that had run a late model for years. He's just looking for someone to be able to wheel his car. So there's 3 examples of people that owned cars that did not have a complete 100% tie to a driver, and the phone rang. Now, if you go to this South Boston Speedway or any of the rest of them, it's either a rental car that you pay to drive or the family owns it or the driver owns it. There is no exception. Those 3 gentlemen I just talked about do not exist, and they don't exist in the lower or the upper.
Nope.
And there are a few exceptions. I mean, the gentleman that won the race this weekend, he is an exception. He got an opportunity in the truck series, took advantage of it, and there was Joe Gibbs, Kyle Busch, and gave him an opportunity. But there are a few of them. It's damn sure not the norm.
That's right.
So those heroes you're speaking about that you've been talking to, the vast majority of them in Jay's time, you would never have spoken to them because they would have never had the opportunity.
Yep.
And I'm not a hero, but I am certainly one of them. My father was doing well in his construction company, and he sponsored Jeff 2 years in the Busch Series. But there's no way in hell he could have done it for 2. But the price was a tenth of what it is now.
Oh, yeah. Well, real quick, let me see, I keep my Facebook page open during the show, and I have got a bunch of people who have sent me questions. I'm not going to get to all of them, but one of them, our Boyd Speedway here in Chattanooga, Tennessee, where I'm the announcer at, we have an annual race called the Cabin Fever, and Scotty Hogan, who was our 2018 champion and sportsman, he said he was a huge Ward Burton fan from back in the day. He said that man would be a blast to hang out with at the races before and after. So Scotty Hogan He's listening, so you just told him. One question that has popped up here that really stands out, and that's when you look back on your racing career, what is the first thing that pops into your mind as far as good memories?
Wow, well, that's a pretty tough question. You know, I could go back, you know, some of the first things. Look, I'm running late model stock, and two things come to my mind. Humphrey Wheeler created a class called the Sportsman class, and that was old Bush cars that were just obsolete.
Yeah.
And we were able to put our late model stock motors in there and go to Charlotte Motor Speedway. And heck, we had all kind of mechanical problems and got ready to qualify, and we sat on the pole and led about it. We blew a left rear tire a few laps ago, but I knew right then that's where I needed to be. And then a bunch of people didn't have racing experience, just short track experience, started coming to, buying a car and end up killing two gentlemen. And the class would dissolve. But then another one, Ed Ferree in Pennsylvania loaned me his Bush car and motor. Ed was a hell of a nice guy, and I remember riding up there in Pennsylvania in my bread truck with the open trailer and picking up this thing and going to Martinsville. And we didn't make the feature by qualifying, but we won the heat race in Ed Free's car. I think we finished, 12th or 13th in the feature, but Humphrey Wheeler had an insight to give people like me, Todd Bodine, Jack Sprague. I mean, those were just two guys that I remember that were in the race in the sportsman class. An opportunity to race at Charlotte, and then you got a guy like Ed Ferree that loaned a nobody a car.
Yeah.
I mean, those things just don't happen anymore.
That's right.
And the part that about the racing that's really troubles me, other than Daytona and Talladega, I mean, think of what my late model stock guys did, running against Tommy Ellis, Tommy Houston, Jack Ingle, and finishing 12th and winning a heat race. Hell, today's time, we wouldn't have enough engineering savvy to figure out how to put the damn springs in the car.
That's right.
I mean, so the grassroots, I don't know. I don't get on the sidekick. I owe a lot to the sport, but the technology of the sport now is eliminating the underclassmen and underfunded teams to show their skills every now and then, because there's some hell of a good drivers that run 20th and back. They just don't have the equipment to hit a setup. And back when I was racing, when racing against Harry Gant, Ernie Irvin, Sterling Marlin, Earnhardt, whomever, you could hit a setup every now and then for a low-income car in lead races, set on poles, and maybe at the end of the race have a chance to win. And now that's just literally impossible because it's a science project.
Yeah, it is. Well, Ward, man, we're up against a commercial break. I want to thank you for coming on and sitting and candidly talking about racing and your memories and what was going on. I do want to extend an offer to you. If you're ever down around North Georgia, up around Dalton, on a weekend, stop by. We'll go fishing Saturday morning, and then we'll go to the races Saturday night up at Boyd Speedway, and you can sit in the announcer's booth with me. It's air conditioned.
All right, sounds good.
All right, thank you so much, Ward. It's been a ton of fun, and I can't wait to maybe we'll have to get Jeb on here real soon.
Well, that's how y'all found me today on his Facebook, so you know how to reach him. And thanks for everybody giving me the time tonight. Enjoyed talking to you.
All right, Ward, thank you so much. Ward Burton, everybody, NASCAR driver, winner of the 1992 Daytona 500. And a lot of fun talking with Ward. Man, that was a surprise. Thank you, Bradley. That was uptown right there. Now, I want to let everybody know we will be posting this. We'll get this up on YouTube in a few days, and If you want to go back and listen to Ward's interview, you can. It's always fun to hear another perspective. And Scotty Hogan said if I get him boards, he'll give him his seat. He can go out there and give it hell again. But it's touching to hear it from his perspective. And we'll be posting his foundation, all that information on my Facebook page. So if you want to go and follow it and check him out, you can. It's great. I mean, to see that he has found a something in his life that he can focus on and get his attention set on. I think it's cool. Although I do miss him in NASCAR because he's got a unique voice and he always had an interesting perspective on things. All right, it's time for a commercial break, so we're going to step out and we'll be back in just a minute. It's the Mitch Walker Show with your host, me, Mitch Walker. They call me the Doctor, and you'll find me exclusively right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
When do you think of a plumber? Like most people, even if it's an emergency, you can be confident about who will arrive to help you. For quality and reliability, count on someone you can trust. Call on the plumbing services of Hague Quality Water of Maryland. Plumbing doesn't have to be an emergency. We handle all kinds of preventative maintenance too. Hague Quality Water of Maryland is family owned here in Annapolis since 1993. For a refreshing choice, call us at 888-84-WATER or visit us online.
Here at Lewis Meineke, we're more than just your average car care center. Hey, it's Dave, your neighbor from Lewis Meineke. Whether you need an oil change, brakes, tires, or anything under the hood, we've got you covered. Take advantage of our free check engine light service as well. Yes, free. And don't forget about our free shuttle service. Never stress, we'll take care of the rest. On with life. Give us a call at Lewis Meineke, 302-827-2054.
Every 30 minutes, another innocent person is killed due to a drunk driver.
My best friend. My brother. My poor grandchild.
My sister.
My father.
My husband.
My mom. My mommy.
Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I've built my life around you.
Stop these tragedies before they happen. Don't drink and drive.
Do you love the sound of high-revving motors and the smell of burning rubber? Do you want to get your car sideways right at the ragged edge of control? If you've always wanted to try drifting or learn to improve your drifting skills, Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier motorsports facility, has the expert instructors and the specialized track to teach you how to drift and the skills necessary to drift competitively. From skid pad to open sessions, Summit Point Motorsports Park has the safe and open environment that allows drifters of all skill levels, new to intermediate, to get sideways and smoking. With a focus on safety and the skill set necessary to drift competitively, Summit Point Motorsports Park's Drift Nirvana is just the thing for you. Call for your reservation today, 304-725-8444. Or for more information, go online, summitpoint-raceway.com, or you can email them at office@bsrinc.com. Drift Nirvana, getting you sideways the right way.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
It's the Mitch Walker Show. If you're looking for a lot of happy talk and fluff, go watch NASCAR coverage on Fox TV. Now, here's the Dr., Mitch Walker.
All right, thank you. Now, one of the things that I want to address is kind of going to be lumped all in one segment, I guess you could say. That's cheating. Recently, there was a young man who went and ran a crate race, and upon inspection, was found his motor was illegal. It had been taken apart. Parts had been changed, put back together, and sealed. The shop that sealed his motor said that he just freshened it up. He didn't change anything. Went in rings and bearings mostly. But the way the rule reads is that if you put seals on a motor, you are supposed to make sure everything inside that motor is right. The battle back and forth between Durant's Lane and Christian Hanger, who is the young man I'm talking about, has been brewing on Facebook and social media for a couple of days now. And one of the things that really got to me was Christian Hanger was disqualified due to his motor. Lifters were not right. His engine builder said that he was done building crate motors. He said he just freshened it up, sealed it back up. Now, somewhere in there, between fact, fiction, and fantasy, is the truth. When you get caught and your stuff ain't right, it's easy to take the low road and go to making excuses and blaming everyone else. I got caught. Whether or not I knew I was right or wrong, don't matter. I got caught. My motor wasn't right. I'm DQ'd for a year. And I have to pay a $1,000 fine to get back in. And from that point, you can only use a GM sealed motor. You can't use one from a rebuilder. Some people will say, well, that ain't fair. You know, these are the guys that are going to rebuilders to get their motor. That's part of the problem with crate racing. I think everyone should have to start out with a GM sealed crate motor straight from Neesmith or from Chevrolet. Then, as time goes by, you need it rebuilt, refreshed. You take it back and get it refreshed. But to go straight, to bypass the GM seals and go straight to a rebuilder to get one reworked to where everything is just perfect. And like I said before, I have seen, and this is not rumor, this is not third or fourth party engine information, I have seen a person buy 4 motors, 4 crate motors, take them to a engine builder and say, tear these down and give me the best parts out of all 4 motors and build me 1 motor, put seals on it, I'll take it, take the other 3, put them back together, reseal them, and we'll sell them. That way everything he has the best that he can get. I've seen it done. That's what's wrong with crate racing. Crate racing was supposed to be a stepping stone to late models. Crate racing was supposed to be an entry level, kind of a going from a hobby car up to a late model. Crate was supposed to be a stepping stone. Over time, it became a standalone series where you had guys who aspired to just run crate. And that's okay. I got no problems with that. But when you start putting the big money up, that brings all the loonies out of the woodwork. That brings all the guys out with a cheated up motor. Brings the guys out with dope in their tires. Everybody's looking for an advantage. And, you know, you can't fault them for that. I've often been known for taking a rule book and looking for the gray areas. Finding a gray area that I can make work for whichever application I need and making it work to my advantage. That's creativity. That's innovation. But to just straight up run something that you know ain't right, that's cheating. There's an old saying that I've drilled into all of my kids' head, and everybody that I've ever worked with from my first days of working on dirt cars after coming back from California here in the Southeast with Chris Zimmerman, Brian Burke, Johnny Kluwer, any of them that I've worked with, I've always said, cheaters never win and winners never cheat. I don't remember who actually said that, but that has always stuck in my head. And it has always, always been something that I've lived by. I don't see a need to cheat. When you get caught cheating, how you deal with it says a lot about your character. And like him or not, the way Christian Hanger dealt with that, I have a lot of problems with. But I mean, he's his own man. He can do what he wants to, however he wants to. But he started by tagging Adam Stewart, who's a series director with Durant's Lane. He tagged him in a Facebook comment. And he said, I don't suppose Corey Hedgecock would know anything about 525 lifters in a crate motor, since this motor was completely rebuilt by him last year. Not so legal Eagle. And I guess I'll go ahead and cash my lifetime suspension from Neesmith check, since that's the only check they'll ever let me have, and tell everyone that maybe we'll all get to race fair and square one day again when people in series like Adam Stewart, Mike Vaughn, and Neesmith stop protecting people and builders such as Eagle. I could care less. And he posted this. And, you know, I got a lot of I'll be the first to admit I've been on Neesmith's case a few times, because me being the Ford man, I've always felt, you know, that Neesmith just didn't want to run Fords because they're scared of them. But that's neither here nor there. I gained a lot of respect for Adam Stewart because he made a comment. Although part of me says he probably shouldn't have, but he made a comment, and this is what he said. He said, I shouldn't respond here, but just to defend myself and company a bit, the engine never had a Crate USA seal in it until it was built by MCR. That means the company has no record of the engine until then, other than the different stories we were told. The lifters were wrong, period. The contract that each certified builder signs states that the engine is exactly as it should be when it leaves their shop. It wasn't. And we exhausted all avenues to guarantee we made the right decision with all that was at stake. Hard to quit something that you are removed from or fired from already, but thanks for the heads up. I even went out of my way to keep from publishing it publicly for the competitor and the builder. And I see now the thanks and how to deal with it going forward. And, you know, if you read on, Hanger just keeps going, you know, and he just keeps blaming somebody else. And Adam Stewart made a really poignant remark that really struck home with me. He said, again, I respect everyone in the sport if they earn it. I remember personally making a phone call to a gentleman informing him that he was disqualified and out for 365 days. Yes, he forgot, but I'm glad that you are publicly are asking for the reminder. Now, my thing is, what he said was, I respect everyone in the sport if they earn it. Because respect is earned. It's not demanded. It's not given freely. It is earned. And although I ain't going to come out and say that I'm 100% on the Neesmith bandwagon. That's not the point here. But the point is, I admire Adam Stewart and Durant's Lane for taking the stand that they did. Motors found illegal, boom. The rule is in the book. It's rule number 8. He shared it with me earlier. And the thing is, if you get a motor that is not right and you put seals on it, you're not right. So MSR, boom. And then MSR comes out and says that he's going to quit building crate motors. Well, that's interesting, since when you get caught building illegal crate motors, you're done. You're no longer a certified rebuilder. Christian Hanger's out for a year for having a dirty motor. Whether you like a series or not, you've got to give respect and admiration where it's deserved. And this time around, it is deserved with Adam Stewart and Neesmith, Durant's Lane. Because that was a stand-up move. To take the bashing that Christian Hanger put out there and blaming everybody but himself and blaming Neesmith and saying, oh, well, they got favorites, yada, yada, yada. You know, take the high road. You owe it to your sponsors. You owe it to the people who support you. You owe it to your fans. Don't make your fans come on there and have to defend you behind something stupid. You know, I mean, really and truly, if you have an illegal motor, you get caught, suck it up, say, I got busted, my motor was illegal, I may or may not have known that it was illegal, but I got caught with it, so that's my bad. Now I sit out for a year. I'll go race something else somewhere. That's the options you have. And if that's the road he wants to take, that's the way to go. You say, hey, I take my punishment and I go on. Because without that punishment, if that punishment don't have teeth to it, then it means nothing. They had no option. Once the motor was found illegal, they had no option but to put the punishment into effect. That's a year's ban, 365 days, and $1,000 fine. That's the way it goes. So all you can do is suck it up and take the high road and say, I got caught. My motor wasn't right. I will regroup. I will gather my stuff up. And when I come back next time, I will make sure that all my stuff is right. Because next time when he comes back, he has to have GM seals in it. If he comes back, cool. Come back the right way. Go about it the way you got to do it. And be done with it. But to sit back and say, hey, I'm blaming everyone but me. You're the one that entered the race with the motor. You took it to a rebuilder and had him freshen it up. The rebuilder should have checked it. So you're both guilty. But the way the rules read, they done what they had to do. So a tip of the hat to Durant's Lane Racing and Adam Stewart and the group over there for doing what they had to do. Because if they don't catch this stuff and put a stop to it, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And any series out there, it don't matter what the series is. If you have rules in place, you have to have punishments in place to back up the rules. And if you're not going to enforce those, then there's no sense in having rules. So I want to say a tip of the hat to Durant's Lane and to Adam Stewart for what they done and for taking the high road and doing the best he could to answer the question and deal with the situation the way it happened. It sucks when somebody gets caught cheating, because from now on you're going to be labeled as a cheater. People are constantly going to wonder, are you legal? And there's nothing that you can do to dispel it other than tear your motor down each and every week. But you got to do what you got to do. That's all there is to it. But we're going to rev it up and keep on going. All right, we're up against the commercial break. We're going to step out, and when we come back, we're going to take on some, we might even step into some NASCAR. So don't go nowhere. It's the Mitch Walker Show with your host, me, Mitch Walker. They call me the Doctor, and you'll find me exclusively right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
How to be a great dad in 15 seconds. Bike ride, go fish, walk in the park, phone call, milkshake, play catch, picnic, fly a kite, tell jokes, laugh, talk, read a story, tell a story, bumper car, swing set, bowling, pillow fight, cut loose, stay tight. Whew. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Automotive technicians and auto service trainees, how would you like to work at the beach and perform for one of the best car care centers in the nation? Lewis Meineke is now looking for skilled automotive technicians to join their award-winning team. If you're a gearhead that knows his or her stuff, or a young up-and-comer that has the motivation and drive to succeed, then you need to make this call today. 302-827-2054. Lewis Meineke Car Care Center, located in beautiful Lewis, Delaware, offers a highly competitive compensation plan, great benefits, a flexible schedule, and did we mention that you're going to be working at the beach? Plus, there's a signing bonus for the right candidates. Technicians must be ASE certified and have a minimum of 6 years experience. Beginners advance at your own pace in one of several entry-level positions. But whatever you do, don't wait. These jobs will go fast. Call Tim at 302-827-2054. That's 302-827-2054. Lewis Meineke Car Care Center. Rev up your career.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right. It's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
How to deal with someone who says that's so gay. Outsmart them.
This party is like so gay. Totally.
Excuse me, but did you ladies know the word gay used to mean happy or excited? Then it became a word used to describe gay people. Then somehow it came to mean dumb or stupid, which is how you just used it, which is not very nice.
Ew, that guy is on the football team and super smart, and he totally hates us now. Totally.
When you say that's so gay, do you realize what you say? Knock it off. Learn more at thinkbeforeyouspeak.com.
The Rock says, know your role, and listen to the damn Mitch Walker Show.
That's right. Know your role. All right. Got some news. We are going to be having let me get back over here to my page. I lost my page. Word just came down that It's reunion time. August 25th at Blue Ridge Motorsports Park, they will be hosting the second annual Sugar Creek Speedway reunion. It's going to start about 2 o'clock and last until race time. The Blue Ridge Late Model Series will be there racing for an awesome show. So Georgia Auto Racing Hall of Fame Association will be set up over there with their tent with a picture board and photo albums for old photos and history of racing in Georgia. T-shirts will also be available at the tent with the latest Pioneer Pages magazine, which I just got mine in the mail today. All fans and drivers are welcome to come hang out with us to talk racing and tell old stories of days gone by. Come on out and support racing in your local track. Let's make this an annual thing. That is from Mark Carter with the Georgia Auto Racing Hall of Fame Association. Now, one of the things that has really, I guess I'm blessed to be a part of, is be on the board of directors for Garhoffa. And this past week, the 4th of July, we went down to Mark and Pam's house for a big kind of a racers reunion barbecue. And we had one hell of a time. And I got to sit down there and talk with Rex White, Mark Carter, Dave Wright. Got to spend a lot of time talking to Dave Wright, which is always a lot of fun. Racer Dave, been a racing fixture in this area for many, many years. It was great to sit back and talk with them. Talked with some other ones. Names are escaping me right now, but had a lot of fun just talking about the way racing used to be, and camaraderie, brotherhood, friendship, whatever you want to call it. But it was a great thing. And one of the things that we sat down there talking with Rex White, and I already told the story about, he was upset about the finish between Kyle Larson and Kyle Busch because he had Larson in the pool. But one of the things that we did talk about was, I was telling Rex just how much a lot of the fans and the listeners of the show enjoyed having him on the show. And it really put a smile on his face. He said, I didn't think nobody would want to hear from an old timer like me. And I said, man, you just don't know. I said, the stories that you told that night, they're just absolutely awesome. I said, I could do 3 or 4 shows with you and never run out of things to talk to. And he said, well, you just let me know when. And I said, really? I said, you'd be willing to come back on again? He said, it'd be an honor. I said, no, the honor would be mine. So we are working on setting up a date. We're going to do another Rex White show. This time we're going to go full 2 hours of just me and Rex. We're going to be, now we had Bill Blair with us last time. Bill's welcome to sit in if he wants to. Me and Bill can do a show on just about anything on a 3-minute notice. But I want to kind of touch base with Rex and find out a little bit more about Rex as a person, and what kind of everybody knows him as Rex White, the racer, the Hall of Famer. He's in the NASCAR Hall of Fame and the 1960 champion. Everybody knows that. I want to find out a little bit more about Rex White, the man, and that's the gear that we're going to put her in when we get Rex White on the next time. So just want you to keep that in mind, and we'll be posting the date of that show coming up real soon. It's always so much fun to have somebody like him come on the show. I love it. Rex comes from a day when, like Bill Blair, he's a man who's walked in 2 eras. He's around today watching racing, but he was a part of it when it started. And that is one of the things that's the most important to me, is he was here in racing when it started. And when you look at what Rex has been through over his life, and you look at the racing that he has done, you can't help but admire him. And to sit and talk to him, he's probably one of the most humble guys you could ever meet, and loves to laugh, loves to tell stories. And he says, man, as long as people want to talk to me, I'm willing to talk. And so I sat there and talked until he said he had to go, and I was about ready to follow him out to his car. But be looking forward to getting Rex on an upcoming show. And we've got some more legends that we're going to be bringing on and doing some special shows with. I'm really looking forward to that as well. Don't want to mention any names right now, but for those of you that didn't know, the new Pioneer page is out. There's 2 articles in there that I wrote. And it's so appropriate because on the front cover, it's got a big Ford logo, and there's an article in there on Jackie Jones. So it's a lot of fun to write for them and talk to them and get to know some of these guys. It's an honor. I mean, there's no other way to put it. It's so much fun. I'm hoping that once we get these videos started, it's going to be something that we're going to be really focused on, and we're going to be pushing, getting the name of Garhoff out there and letting people know what's going on. So we'll be doing some videos coming up real soon. We're working on locking down the drivers that we're going to have. We're going to be doing, our first video is going to be over at the Hall of Fame in the museum. We're going to set up over there and do it. So I'm really excited about that, getting to go over there and hang out and with Gordon Perkle and just do his thing. Now, we mentioned, that kind of got wound up. We mentioned the fiasco they had Saturday night. That's the only way you can describe it. I don't know what possessed Ricky Stenhouse. Fast car, good handling race car, and he proceeded to drive over everybody in the field. Lap 54, him and Keselowski going to the front, going for the lead. Keselowski checks up just a little bit, and Stenhouse just turned him. And Stenhouse drives away, and everybody else collects 22 cars, taking out probably the top half of the field. That affected who won. Eric Jones was fast, yeah, but could he have won with all the other cars in there? I very seriously doubt it. Would Truex have been up there in second place if all the other cars were still in? I doubt it. But that brings me back to my thing. Ricky Stenhouse in the 17 car was involved in 3 wrecks. 2 of them he caused. The one on lap 64, where he got up into Kyle Busch, turned Kyle Busch into the wall. And then the first one on lap 54, where him and Keselowski got together. This is the result of plate racing. I've heard that. If I've heard it once, I've heard it 1,100 times. Plate racing sucks. Pure and simple, it sucks. It has no place on NASCAR. You want to slow the cars down? That's fine. Get them up off the ground. Take away this aero dependency crap. You know, me and Chuck Becker went round and round and round one night on the show talking about this and talking about just how messed up this aero package is. These cars are glued to the ground, okay? That's fine. But they're on the bump stops. They're sitting down there. The nose stayed glued to the ground with like a half an inch between the splitter and the track. That sucks the car down to the track. The side drafting. Run up there, run up alongside somebody's quarter panel. Slows them down. Why? Because of this aero package. Now, get the car up off the ground. Put a stock nose back on it. And let them go. You want to cut the horsepower? That's fine. But I'm telling you, you get away from this aero package and you bring the speeds down to where you don't need an aero package or you don't need restrictor plates to have good racing. NASCAR keeps beating around the bush, going on and on and on and on about, oh, well, we got to do this to create parity. Screw parity. Nobody wants to see parity. They want to see innovation. They want to see that passion to win. They want to see creativity. But the way it is now, it's all spec racing. Spec racing sucks. Sorry, it sucks. The race Saturday was proof of that. Some people say, well, that was exciting. No, that wasn't exciting. You figure 22 cars in one wreck at about $1 million a piece. That's $22 million just shot all to hell. And these teams have to regroup from that. Take those cars back. I bet the dumpsters out behind a lot of these cup teams' shops this morning are full with front ends and rear clips that have been cut off and thrown in the dumpster, and they're on the jig plate getting new ones put on. And you call that exciting? No, that's not exciting. The weekend before, with a little bump and run and the little bit of contact that the two Kyles had, that was exciting. I will give them that much. That was an exciting finish. But this crap that they come up with Saturday night, that wasn't even close to exciting. What's going to happen there is somebody is going to get seriously hurt, or God forbid, somebody is going to get killed. Think about it. Do we have to have another Dale Earnhardt incident before changes are made? Why does somebody have to die or get maimed before changes are made? I'll tell you what's going to happen. Ward Burton touched on it in the first interview on the show. Management. Until management changes. Until we get somebody in charge who is a racer. Until we get somebody in charge who knows a little something about racing, this is what we're going to have. How many years will it take to completely destroy NASCAR? You look at Sports Marketing Information Group, the group that markets all, they don't market, they tell you what share of the market you have. They watch all media coverage. NASCAR has been down 60% in the past 6 years. And it's dropping. They took the seats out of racetracks because they couldn't sell them all. Now they're home. Oh, we sold out this race. Yeah, after you took 50,000 seats out of it. When they take all the seats out, what are they going to do? have it as a pay-per-view event and charge you $29.95 to watch a race. NASCAR has got to shift gears. They have got to make changes. They need to get somebody in power who knows what they're doing and knows about race cars. That's the only way you're going to save NASCAR, because this crap they had Saturday night ain't going to get it. It's not going to cut it one bit. Your true racers are going to look at that and go, that absolutely sucked, because look at all the damage and all the destroyed race cars that they took down there. It's like pulling out a Bic lighter, use it until it's used up and throw it away. That's the way speedway cars are now. Send them down there to get bent up and destroyed, throw it out. We've got to stop that mentality. We've got to have some good racing coming back. In order to do that, there's going to have to be rule changes. Yeah, it's going to be expensive for the car owners, but they're going to have to get away from this aero package that they have now. Because until they get rid of that, all you're going to get when you get to these big tracks with all this bumping and pushing and spoilers and restrictor plates and blocking, that's a whole nother a whole nother discussion, is the blocking thing. Until you get rid of that, all you're going to have is what you had Saturday night. One big flipping mess. And it's a shame, because NASCAR could be so much more. All right, I'll stop there on that part of it. I've got some more I want to talk about. I want to talk about Brad Keselowski's comments that he made after he walked out of the infield care center. And we'll discuss that when we come back after break, along with some upcoming events and some things that's going on. And who knows, I may go back to the cheating thing again. But sit tight, don't go nowhere. It's the Mitch Walker Show with your host, me, Mitch Walker. They call me the Doctor, and you'll find me exclusively right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the Track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the Track at Summit Point Motorsports Park.
Every 30 minutes, another innocent person is killed due to a drunk driver.
My best friend.
My brother.
My poor grandchild.
My sister.
My father.
My husband.
My mom. My mommy.
Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I've built my life around you.
Stop these tragedies before they happen. Don't drink and drive.
The Performance Motorsports Network is a compilation of shows about motorsports. From technical to controversial to just fun, everything you like about racing and gearhead stuff is right here on one internet channel. The Performance Motorsports Network. Tell your friends about it.
Hi, I'm Reed Sorensen. Racing has been a part of me and my family for as long as I can remember. I had to make tough choices early on to get to the top. It took hard work and dedication. But it's those tough choices that helped me prepare for challenges I would face as a cup driver. Make the right choices today and be ready for the challenges tomorrow. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
You're listening to The Mitch Walker Show. You want half-naked girls, singing, and sound effects? Go watch American Idol. Now, here's the doctor.
All right, welcome back. One of the things that I wanted to touch on, and I'm going to jump right to it, was what Keselowski said after the wreck. He said, I guess I need to start wrecking more people. Wreck more people so they don't throw bad blocks on me anymore. They'd be scared to. Now, think about that. Think about the logic behind that. I understand Keselowski was mad because of William Byron, who, by the way, was at Boyd's today testing a dirt car. Blocking. That's ridiculous. I cannot for the life of me figure out how NASCAR can let them block. You know, if you're not fast enough to stay out front, then what you do is you take and you go back. Get your stuff all gathered up and you go back to the front. It's called racing. It's not called blocking. This is not, what was that movie from, back in the 80s, Rollerball or Death Race, whatever it is. You know, that blocking crap has got to stop. That's what caused the big race, the big wreck Saturday that took out 22 cars, was William Byron, a rookie, trying to block the whole front of the field. You can't. How can you put these guys out there like me and Ward were talking earlier? You got these guys that haven't paid their dues. William Byron, he come from iRacing. They put him in a truck. He wins a bunch of races. They stick him in a Xfinity car. He goes and wins a few races, and then boom, he goes to Cup. That's the only racing he knows. And they think he's good. In a few years, he may be good. But you know, I mean, it's so frustrating, and I feel Ward Burton's pain because he was talking about trying to get his son Jeb a ride. You know, Jeb's got talent. Jeb's got a skill set to drive a race car. He's grown up around it. He's been in it his whole life. And then you take somebody like William Byron, not knocking William Byron, but he's my example. You got William Byron, who started racing on a computer, and now he's racing in Cup. All the chips have to fall his way in order for that to happen, and they all did. So, I mean, more power to him. But you know, there's a young man who I've been talking to for about 3 years now who started racing this year, and he asked me for advice. And I told him, he goes out in a beginner's class, his very first race. He said, what do I do? I said, no matter where you draw, you go to the back. You start at the rear. And you start at the rear voluntarily. That way you don't put yourself or nobody else in jeopardy. William Byron has never led laps at Daytona or Talladega. I understand it's baptism by fire, that you got to get in there and do it in order to understand it. But you also need to be able to get in there and learn how to race before you get in there and learn how to wreck. Because he's got the wrecking part figured out pretty good. Now, like I said, I admire the youngster, but, you know, all them other guys may not. All them other guys that his actions took out of the race. All because he was trying to block. And that's the mentality that drivers have nowadays. Let's block the field. How about just race them? Go back to 9-to-1 compression motors, get the bodies up off the ground, get rid of that aerodynamic nose and that stupid splitter, and go racing. It's not that hard. But I think there's something to what Keselowski said after he come out of the infield care center. You know, you're going to have to start making believers out of people so they don't pull bonehead moves like that. In the heat of battle, I understand you do some stupid things sometimes, but there's no need in doing stupid things that cost other people's chances at winning, other people's money, and possibly other people's lives. So that's my take on the fiasco that they had down there at Daytona, which just amazes me. And then I read today that Pocono is looking at making their second day a road course. Charlotte's got that stupid Roval thing where they're going to race run a road course through the infield and then use part of the high banks like Daytona does. And now Pocono says, hey, we can do the same thing. You know, nobody wants to see a road race. Really and truly, we want to see people go around in circles. That's what NASCAR is. NASCAR used to have 2 road races a year. They used to run Riverside and Watkins Glen. Well, they tore Riverside down, so now they run Sonoma. But that's all we need. We don't need a whole bunch of road course races. Then again, you get back to management. The people that are in charge. They keep looking for ways to attract new fans. Instead of fixing the real problem, the cars, they keep just putting more and more flowers on their little dog and pony show. 2 heats and a feature. We'll do segments. We'll do a chase playoff type series. You know, it don't work. When you have fans that are leaving left and right, you can't give away the damn tickets to the races. What part of that don't you understand? And yes, Mr. Brainless Brian France, I'm talking to you. What part of it can you not wrap your brain can you not wrap your hands around because you don't have a brain? We've already seen that. It's ridiculous. You know, and like the Christian Hanger thing with the crate race, you know. You look at that. I have to toot Neesmith's horn on that one because there was a rule in place that said if you get caught, here's the punishment. And they did. He got caught. They showed him the punishment. Now, instead of taking the high road and just saying, okay, I may or may not have had a bad motor in there, I'm just going to go ahead and take my lumps and I'll find something else to do for the next 365 days. When I come back, I'll come back right, and I'll come back proud, and I'll come back strong, and we'll go racing again. No, instead, he goes on an insulting rant, calling out everybody and their brother, everybody but him, and bringing up all this social media drama that has no place in racing. Social media is an awesome thing. It can be a great tool for racing. It can be a great tool for exposing new fans to the sport. But when you've got all this 147 different comments and you have Hanger's minions, all his fans, standing up and defending him. Why? Why defend him? He got caught. He was illegal. It don't matter. You can say that they're favorites. You can call heads, cock out. Do whatever you want to. But you're not doing anything but hurting the sport. Do something productive. Talk about how great the racing is. You know, Grandma told me one time, said, if you can't say nothing nice, then don't say nothing at all. And while that don't apply to me on my show, because somebody's got to make the squeaky wheel squeak, somebody has to bring attention to it, and that's kind of my job. You know, look at what you're doing. Look at how many racetracks have closed down in the past 2 years. Cleveland, Paducah, Tennessee National. Those are three right off the top of my head. Two of them this year, Paducah and Tennessee National, closed down this year. I seen a while ago where there's a kart track in California that's been racing, doing pretty good, and it closed down. What closes them down? You guessed it, bashing. When you go to bashing, you do nothing but make yourself look like an idiot. You know, you have a responsibility as a race car driver to represent your sponsors, to represent them in a positive light. Now, if you own your own car and you're sponsored by your own business and you don't have to answer to your sponsors, well, then I guess you can do whatever the hell you want to do. But it don't make you look professional. It don't make you look like you are somebody that an average company would want to hang their name on your car. That does nothing but destroy the sport. This sport has got so much positive about it. I mean, if you've ever sat in the grandstands and watched two or three guys go 25 or 30 laps in a row, door handle to door handle, and they don't even have door handles, but door to door, racing for position, racing clean, that is some of the most exciting racing you'll ever see. Or to see a driver have a flat tire and get stuck in the back, have to work his way back through the field again. And to watch him come on a charge, like Ronnie Johnson at North Georgia here a few weeks ago. Cut a tire on a lap car while leading. Come in, change the tire, had to go back out, start at the rear, and he came up through the field and finished third. If he had had a couple more laps, he could have probably got second, maybe even first. But it was exciting watching him charge through the field. And for fans, you know, if it's your favorite driver working his way back up through the field, you're going to be rooting him on and cheering him on and urging him, doing everything you can to help him. You know, if words and noise could help him, some of these guys would never lose a race. But you've always got to remain professional. You've got to present yourself in a professional manner. And you got to take the high road, you know. Last year, there was a driver, real quick story, who got shafted. He was in a wreck, not of his own making. He could have called some drivers out and said, dummy number one done this and dummy number two done that, and I got caught in between them. But he didn't. He got out there, made a statement on social media. He's like, hey, got caught up in a something that wasn't my own doing. We bent the race car, wadded up the body pretty good. We're going to go back, put a new body on, get things straightened back out. We're going to come back out and go racing again. No bashing. No calling people out. He took the high road. Yeah, well, who was it? I'll tell you who it was. Young man out of Tennessee named Josh Fields. The kid works hard for what he does. Does he win every race? Nope, he don't. But you can bet your butt he's out there giving it his all. And when the night's over, if he don't win, he don't sit there and make excuses. He just smiles. He says, we're racing. I love it. And we'll come back and get them next week. Booger Brooks is the same way. There's a lot of racers out there. Tommy Gilbert, Jim Gilbert, Scotty Hogan, Brian Pritchard. The list goes on and on and on of racers who just want to get out there and race. They don't want to be tied up in all the drama. They don't want to be tied up in the pissing contest over in the corner. They just want to go race. And if we don't get some of this social media crap under control and figure out a way to battle it and not feed into it, then we're all going to be looking for places to race. That's just my 2 cents worth. Right or wrong, that's what the doctor thinks. All right, we're going to step out, take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about some upcoming events in the area and hope that you can find your way to attend some of them. So sit tight, don't go nowhere. It's the Mitch Walker Show with your host, me, Mitch Walker. They call me the doctor, and you'll find me right here exclusively on the Performance Motorsports Network.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the track at Summit Point Motorsports Park.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on 2 things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Here's an important message from RAD and this station.
Hi, this is Bob Sheehan from Blues Traveler for RAD, Recording Artists Against Drunk Driving. I like to party just as much as the next guy, maybe even more. But the one thing I won't do after I've had a few is get in the car and drive. Don't blow it. Always choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives and so should you.
Automotive technicians and auto service trainees, how would you like to work at the beach and perform for one of the best car care centers in the nation? Lewis Meineke is now looking for skilled automotive technicians to join their award-winning team. If you're a gearhead that knows his or her stuff or a young up-and-comer that has the motivation and drive to succeed, Then you need to make this call today. 302-827-2054. Lewis Meineke Car Care Center, located in beautiful Lewis, Delaware, offers a highly competitive compensation plan, great benefits, a flexible schedule, and did we mention that you're going to be working at the beach? Plus, there's a signing bonus for the right candidates. Technicians must be ASE certified and have a minimum of 6 years experience. Beginners advance at your own pace in one of several entry-level positions. But whatever you do, don't wait. These jobs will go fast. Call Tim at 302-827-2054. That's 302-827-2054. Lewis Meineke Car Care Center. Rev up your career.
Covering the entire field from the back markers to the race winner every weekend. It's the Mitch Walker Show. And now, back to the doctor.
All right, welcome back. Now, I told you we were going to talk about some upcoming events. Well, I just checked the reunion at Blue Ridge for the Sugar Creek Speedway reunion, August 25th. I will be there. We're not racing at Boyd's that night. So Boyd's we race on the 4th, the 11th, and the 17th. The 17th will be the USCS Sprint Cars. The 11th will be the Red Clay 602 Series. So we're looking forward to that. This coming Saturday night is July the 14th. Will be the Faith and Family Night, along with Power Wheel races. We'll be running limited crates, sportsman's, hobby, street stocks, and hot shots up at Boyd's. So make your plans to be there for that. It is something that we have really focused on. I have been preparing for this. Let me see, 3 weeks that I know of. Faith and Family Night. We're looking forward to getting a lot of church groups out. I hope that if your church is got a youth group or just a group of guys, it'd be a good night for men's night out. Come on out to Boyd Speedway this week. Here it is. Faith and Family Bulletin, and receive a $2 discount on your admission. Veterans, first responders, and senior citizens, $5 to get in. $10 regular admission. Pit prices are $25. Kids 3 through 12 are $10. 2 and under are free. Grandstands, which will open at 5:30. Adults are $10. Kids 12 and under are free. $2 off with your church bulletin. Let me see. Limiteds will be running for $1,000. Crates will be running for $800. Sportsman's for $600. Hobbies for $350. Durant's Lane Street Stocks $300 to win. Hot Shots $150 to win. That will be at Boyd's this coming Saturday night. So make your plans to be there. Now, if you have someone in your church who is a really, really good singer and they would like to sing the national anthem, get with me and let me know, and we will see if we can't make this happen. Nothing would make me happier than to have someone sing the national anthem live. I think it's if I could sing, I would do it every week. But I couldn't carry a tune in a dump truck. Trust me, you don't want me singing. But I have got an awesome playlist lined up of music that we're going to be playing throughout the night. When we get there, not going to be your normal Mitch Walker playlist, but we're going to do a few things for you, for the fans. Looking forward to it. Going to be a great night, plus the Power Wheel races. You don't want to forget that. We're going to have fun with that. So come on out. All Power Wheels have to be stock. Okay? No super duper 3 batteries running series and all that stuff. come on out. Bring your Power Wheels. Bring your kids. Bring your family. There will be no beer sales that night. So it's a true family night at Boyd Speedway, and we'd love to have you come on out. There are, let me see, where was the other one I had? I had another one here, I thought. Oh, no, it was just the Blue Ridge Motorsports Park reunion, the Sugar Creek reunion. That will be in August. We've got a lot of interesting things coming on the show. We've got some special guests that are going to be coming up, kind of like tonight, surprise guest or two. I've got some things coming that I'm looking forward to. Hopefully get some of the legends that we met down at the big barbecue with Garhoffa, getting some of them on. I'm thinking that like the Rex White thing, I'm looking forward to a lot of these because I want to do a lot more to preserve the history in the state of Georgia and throughout the Southeast. We've got a lot of these legends that live here in this area and think that nobody's interested in what they have to say. I talked with one of them here a couple of weeks ago, and he said, "Yeah, I guess I could do that, but nobody wants to hear what I got to say. I ain't been around racing in years." And it's like, it's not true. There's a lot of people has a lot wants to hear what you've got to say. And you know, a lot of the fans that are in the stands today grew up watching some of these guys drive. Guys like Steve Anderson, Bugs Reddix, Leon Brindle. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. We want to get these guys out there and get them to tell their stories, because if we don't, these stories are gonna go away, and we'll never ever get to hear them. And you know, sitting down there talking with Rex the other day, it really reinforced my drive and my passion to preserve history in the Southeast of racing. And I think that by doing interviews and letting these guys tell their stories, it's a way to do it that you can hear it. It's one thing to read it, but when you get to hear it, it just becomes so much more funny and so much more meaningful. I mean, sitting down there listening to Rex talk about some of the things that he done, it's so much to soak in, and it's something that more people ought to listen to. Also, the Davey Allison special will be coming on FS1 at 6 p.m. on Wednesday. But real quick, we've got a couple of minutes here. I want to squeeze this in. I want to get my producer on here because he went and done something this weekend. He went and done the NASCAR ride thing and got to drive his own NASCAR, his own race car. Now, Bradley, swing your mic around there and tell us real quick, what did you think about that?
I think I missed my calling in life.
Really?
Yeah. If I had the financial means, man, I know what I'd want to do.
Well, now, Bradley he's always been behind the scenes. He's pushed the buttons and turned the knobs for me. This is his second go around with me, but you really had a good time, did you?
Oh, man, it didn't even feel like he was going that fast. It felt like he was like going 80 or something on the interstate. After you go so fast, it's just, I don't know, it doesn't feel like it was that fast.
Now, did you drive home?
Yeah, I did. It felt kind of weird. It felt weird.
I could never drive home after the races.
That's what I told my wife. I said, I don't see how they drive this fast for 4 and 5 hours and then get back in their pedestrian car and drive 65 mile an hour. I don't.
Well, I think I think more people ought to try it. I think it's something that would give people a whole new respect for race car drivers, wouldn't it?
Yeah, like I said, I don't see how you sit with 42 other guys and do that for 3 and 4 hours at a time. That is crazy. You don't have that time. I mean, you really don't have much time to look around. Like, you just got to keep your eyes straight.
Was it hot?
No, it was cloudy all day, so it wasn't that bad. It was like 75, 80. So I mean.
Oh, you're lucky.
Oh yeah, it was a good day. The guy in the meeting room said that like Wednesday before it was like 150 degrees on the track.
Yeah, I bet it was miserable. Well, hey, I'm glad you enjoyed it, and sounded like a lot of fun. So
I can't wait to do it. I get to do it again because the camera didn't video the drive for me, so I get to do it again for free because that's a deal they have. If something breaks on the camera, then you can do it again for free.
Man, that right there that's the deal right there.
I know,
so
man, it's like 2 for 1.
Yeah, you get to go do it again. I can't wait to see the video.
Oh, I can't either. I was so mad that my camera didn't work, but then again, I kind of wasn't. So, because I want to do it again.
Yeah, once you get figured out that you get to go again because your camera didn't work, it's like, hell yeah, I hope it don't work again.
I know. I was like, well, can I go again right now? And they're like, no, they want you to reschedule it for another day. I was like, golly. Because I was amped up, ready to roll again.
Well, hey, now you know you can go again another day. You got some time to think about it. Maybe you can get that speed up a little bit.
Yeah, I won't be letting off the first few turns I hit this time because I know what to expect.
Well, hey, I'm glad you had fun, and I just want to let you know it's good to have the team back together.
Oh, yeah, it's been a blast.
Man, I can't wait for it. Everyone, Bradley Clayton, my producer, he's the one that keeps the show sounding good and puts the creative touches on it, and it was him that got Ward Burton in here, and he said he's got another trick or two up his sleeve, so we'll see what we can come up with in the near future. But thanks again, Bradley. You're the man.
No trouble, man. No trouble.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're up against our last, the end of the show. It's not the last commercial break because I was ready to go again. I got 3 more pages. But I just want to remind you, this weekend, Boyd Speedway, we'll be rocking and rolling with Faith and Family Night. Come on out, bring your family, bring your church group. Church groups, if you contact Kathy Coulter or Boyd Speedway's Facebook page, there are special group pricing available. So get your pastor or your youth minister, whoever in your group, to contact Kathy at Boyd Speedway's Facebook page. We'd love to have you come out, hang out with us for a great night of racing. All our divisions are going to be racing that night, plus the Power Wheels. So come on out, have a good time, and I promise you, one way or another, we will entertain you. You'll get to see why I have a face for radio. But come on out. We'd love to have you out at Boyd Speedway this coming weekend. All right, that does it for tonight's show. I want to thank Ward Burton for coming on. I want to thank all of our listeners who tune in each and every week. Bobby Covington, him and Debbie Fields, they always tune in. Eddie Kluwer, my number one fan. I mean, Eddie listens every week. He is as regular as clockwork. And without him, and fans like him, it's just not the same. And anytime I go somewhere, they say, hey, I listen to your show. So it's always good to have those guys tuning in. And if you got ideas, we'd love to hear them. Stop by, check out our Facebook page, The Mitch Walker Show. Hit the like button, share it with your friends. Let other people know that we always got something going on over there, and we're going to be lighting it up. So don't go nowhere. Just stay tuned here every Monday night. We'd love to have you each and every chance you get. Tune in, and we'll be getting everything up on our YouTube page. We'll be getting that posted here in the next day or two, so keep that in mind too. But remember this, take somebody with you racing. Create a new fan. That's the future of our sport that you're bringing to the races when you bring a new fan. So keep that in mind. Also, you can't fix the whole world, but you can touch just one life. My name's Mitch Walker. This has been the Mitch Walker Show. Hope to see you again next Monday night. And you'll find us right here on the Performance Motorsports Network. See ya.
You've been listening to The Mitch Walker Show on the Performance Motorsports Network. Stay tuned to Performance Motorsports Network for more race talk. For the latest motorsports news, visit RaceChaserOnline.com. The Mitch Walker Show is a copyrighted production of the Performance Motorsports Network. www.performancemotorsportsnetwork.com. A member of the Scorpion Radio Group, Incorporated, and may not be rebroadcast, replicated, or saved in any media without the explicit written permission of PMN. Check out our Facebook page or our section on the PMN website. The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host, co-host, and guests, and do not necessarily reflect those of the management and ownership of either the Performance Motorsports Network or Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated, the advertisers, or the marketing partners. Be listening again next week when the Mitch Walker Show returns on Monday night at 9:30 Eastern. Until then, stay tuned for more great motorsports programming on the Performance Motorsports Network.